Most times when I'm starting Knotted Locs because the client wants a fresh start. It's equivalent to having the big chop when you've permed your hair for years and braided your hair for years and your hair is tired and someone decides to start again and they start again with the big chop. I feel like Knotted Locs mirrors that experience. The only difference is you've still got a lot of your hair. All of your hair still attached to your head. It's just that it's now knotted in. So the work I do is to enable the client from day one not to bother with band and braiding, not to have any worries about or even putting oil on their hair or spritzing their hair, not to have any worries about their hair tangling and unraveling. And that's why I place these fusion of knots along the strands. The work I've done has improved. This is now 7 years of Knotted Locs. If I think of when I first started Knotted Locs, the work I was doing, if I compare it to now, it's improved so much more because we're 7 years in. It's really important for you to understand that it's starting from scratch, it's starting from fresh, and it's starting with your own hair. You're starting with your own hair and your African hair. When it comes out of the shower, just think about the texture, what your hair feels like. That's kind of like a representation of what I do when I knot your locks, when I start your locks off. And that's why clients' locks are short initially, and then obviously the length takes care of itself. When I'm creating Knotted Locs, I'm trying to give you maximum locks fullness. That's the objective. And the cost of that is length. The cost of me ensuring that you don't ever have to band and braid, you don't have to worry about your hair unraveling. So when I first start someone's Knotted Locs, my ideal is 8 weeks. Most times on average, it's 8 weeks. There are exceptions to that, but it's like the next 8 weeks is when I'll see, or even 10 weeks. And immediately I want to stretch your appointments to 3 months. So that's the idea, is because as little interaction as possible means your hair is not disturbed and it just grows. There's the tricky nature of the resistance stage, but how I work with my clients is we kind of go back and forth and discuss it. And that resistance stage lasts a shorter time simply because I create these clever loops, these clever fusion of knots that enable the hair to stay locked in. The most important part of the experience of Knotted Locs is understanding that I'm trying to free up your time. And so I don't want you to worry about the usual traditional things that people worry about. So if you want to, like, if you had Sisterlocks, you'd worry about wetting your hair. And with a Knotted Locs, you can wet your hair. You can put a bit of oil on your head. I think the first time, there's always the first time I just say, wash it when you're coming to me, but after that you can wash it between sessions and then you come to me. It's just the first time I want to see what the hair looks like, so I always say wash it on the day. And it's a team experience because it's about your African texture hair. It's really important for you to understand that it can be tricky initially because you're not used to short hair, and Knotted Locs starts off short. It starts off short and it starts off as full as physically possible. So I try and give you the fullest of locks, which is why I create the knots in the way I create the knots, and I tweak things a lot. So the day 1, day 2, day 3 of me starting your Knotted Locs, the next time I see you is also, it's not just a relocking session, it's a reassessment session. Because generally it takes about 3 months for your hair to be relocked again, even when it's brand new. Unless you're an exception to the rule, and we can discuss that. What I've noticed is that there's always broken hairs beneath the strands. So the strands tapered, and towards the end of it, it's normally thinner, and right at the bottom you can see the thickness. And you can see strands are trying to grow, and then they get broken off, and then they're growing, but they're growing not long enough to get, they're not given an opportunity to grow evenly along other strands. that's across most heads. And my vision when I see that is I want to create that thickness that I can see close to the scalp. I want it to go all the way to the tip, to the end. That's the vision with Knotted Locs. It's a real partnership with Knotted Locs because it's about showcasing your African texture hair. So I expect a lot of interaction with your hair, hands in your hair, you wetting your hair, you checking your hair. All of this is from day one. And you understanding how much water your hair needs. But I just need it to be a safe space for you to go, right, I want to explore my African texture hair in a way where I let go and I give nature the space to allow my hair to be fuller. You're breaking the mold. When you step into Knotted Locs, I'm the one who's created it. So you're stepping into a space that you basically lead in terms of how you want to live with your hair. You have to be comfortable with living with your hair as it is out, because your African texture hair isn't straight, isn't as long right now because it's new. And it's you just getting into the mindset that as you are, you're beautiful. You don't need to look outside yourself. The moment you start looking outside yourself for endorsement, that's the problem you're going to have. For somebody to validate your beauty and validate and qualify you for wanting to appear as you choose to appear, that's going to be your own issue. You know what? I cannot help anyone with those type of issues, because that's personal and that's internal. That's very subjective. What I can help you do to understand is, like, you're not on your own. I am here. I talk you through all the process. I love the sessions when I'm starting my clients here because I show them, I talk them through everything, my observation, the knots, the space they need before they then can reach out to me and say they want to re-lock their hair. So they walk away with a clear understanding of, this is how we're going to carry on the session. This is how we're going to carry on. Even when you're not in the chair, I am available. And I just think it's just a special moment to shout out your hair, to celebrate your hair. And the footage I share, I try and show you the texture of hair I work with and also how it looks when it's been knotted. And you can see a connection. I'm just trying to show you how beautiful your hair is. And I'm trying to keep that connection as though you've just stepped out of the shower. That's the initial idea, is your hair is curly close to your head. Sometimes I suggest to clients when I start their hair, because people are really curious, they might ask you, what is your hair when you first started? You just don't say anything. Just say, oh, I'm just keeping it short for now. You don't necessarily have to say it's locks. You don't have to begin to explain it, because honestly, if you observe Knotted Locs close up, it's a real mystery. It's a real mystery observing Knotted Locs. Sometimes you don't see the knots, sometimes you do, but if you don't know what you're looking at, you don't understand you're looking at a fusion of knots. And then people are trying to assess, and because what's interesting is with Sisterlocks, you can see it's Sisterlocks. With Interlocking, you can see it because it's plaited, it's backward braided. So you can see the movement, you can see that there's braided. So when people are looking for Sisterlocks, they're looking for a grid pattern. Oh, look, it's Sisterlocks, it's parted, and then they see the plaits. With Knotted Locs, it's just fullness. It's just the person's hair as fully covered as possible. Because that's what it's about. It's about your texture. It's not about my ability to part hair. It's about my skill set to give you the fullest head of locks and the lowest maintenance of small size locks. What that means is minimal disruption. All you have to do is master the art of separating your hair, wet it, oil it, and then once your hair is established, you interact with your hair how you choose, because we're so different, we're so diverse, our environments are diverse. Knotted Locs embraces that. But the beginning is about you being all right with yourself, all right with your hair texture, all right with your hair being short, because you understand the journey you're about to go on. And the journey you're about to go on is you forming a super, super positive relationship with your African texture hair in small size locks with the aid of Knotted Locs, because Knotted Locs is not a hairstyle. It is just a method to keep your hair in these clever tubes separated for longer.